Jeez. All right. Anthony, we have another minute.
Oh, your time, my time, whatever time it is in Montevideo. Let's just pick a time.
All right. Gary Harlem's here. Man, this is a special day. Gary, good to see you.
I missed 1 week. Oh, actually I missed two, I think.
You missed
You
two.
know,
We were
You
all
missed two.
counting.
We
We had a Gary tracker going on. We had a whole, prediction betting.
yeah. You're in the poly market now, Gary.
That's
well,
right.
you know, these Azure migrations and time off, they all get in the way of a fun time. What can I tell you?
Yeah. Okay.
We missed you guys.
You were missed. All right. I guess I don't think we're gonna have Jim, right? He's at all these meetings, Leron, Jim, all these big guys now, right? Chip.
Yes, they are all down in Miami for the week, which I was supposed to do, but I just said no. I have too much. I have too many things to do. So
I'm glad you said no. All right. Well, with that, Chip, let's start off with putting you in the hot seat here. Any good wins, exciting things going on?
I'm not again intimately familiar with what we had with like compromise wins of the week. All of my wins lately have been around helping, frankly, Kaseya grow into a better company. In fact, I had an interesting experience with Ben this morning where he showed me a new piece of the SaaS Alerts product that I didn't even know existed. That's how far I've
Wow.
gotten pulled into,
Wow.
um, the mainstream of change inside Kaseya. But I guess the win there for me is that, the team that we built at SaaS Alerts is just so good and so strong at continuing to evolve the product that you know I would need my own orientation at this point for a few things, and Ben gave me one this morning on something very specific. So that's a win. I feel good about that. That the product continues to get better and better and better, and have massively increased our user base over the past 11 months since we
The
were acquired.
acquisition.
So that's good.
Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of which, but thank you for bringing that up, Ben. I totally spaced. I have you on the agenda, and I didn't have you in the agenda. Um, we got to make sure the advanced suppression, correct, Ben?
Yep. I'm going to do a personal nomination of a win for the week with Chip. You take my win for the week, Chip.
Happy to help, Enrique. Very happy to help. I wasn't awake last night to see your latest message. Well, let me rephrase that. When you sent your message last night, I was actually out getting some exercise, running around the soccer field, and came home and pretty much crashed. So probably could have
Yeah,
handled that
thanks.
a little faster for you, but I'm glad we got it straightened out.
Yep.
Any other who has some good stuff out there in the last 2 weeks? Or Gary, and anything exciting you want to share?
No, we had a near miss with a client, not SaaS related, but Huntress did a great job of shutting down an infection. The threat actor tried to run some harvesting PowerShell commands to get users or dump the registry and a couple of things, but immediately was shut down and isolated the network until we could look at it in the morning. Crisis averted.
Nice.
Very
That's
happy
great.
about that.
It's
Good.
pretty cool how we've kind of evolved, right, as an
Yeah.
industry. I
2 years ago, we wouldn't have been able to say that.
yeah,
Right.
I think
Well,
you're right,
what do
Andy.
you mean? 2 months ago, we had a major incident that one of the competitors didn't stop. Well, actually, that's not true. They didn't have it on there. Never mind. I take that back. 2 months ago, we did get hit, but they didn't have the tools on it. And interestingly enough, as of last Friday, the controller who had been managing technology for many, many years, as long as we've been in the account, yeah, she was fired. We don't know for sure as a result of the incident or mismanagement, but she's no longer there, and her replacement is in love with technology. So that's great for us.
That's awesome, Gary. Was it a nonprofit, Gary, with the whole?
It's a quasi nonprofit. It's like one of the local tourism offices.
That's right.
So,
That's
still a quasi-government entity, but technically not nonprofit.
well, as they say sometimes, the best way to get cybersecurity budget is have a breach. Let's hope.
Yeah, 100%. Now the good news is, from our standpoint, there were some things that came out in the reporting that had they been a little bit more on their toes and looked a little bit deeper, would have implicated us in a couple of things having to do with their VPN. But we dodged a very good bullet or big bullet in that instance.
Gary, this is being recorded. You understand that, right?
Yeah, I don't care. She's
All
not
right.
anymore. She's not there anymore.
Yeah, well, but for those that might have legacy VPNs, and we've had Corey on. I don't know if he's on today, and we've been banging the drum about sunsetting.
Yeah.
I guess what if in the post-mortem, what would you tell the group? What did you learn? What is the takeaway?
So there were two things. One, there were a few SSL VPN accounts that shouldn't have been there, but in their SonicWall, which had not yet been replaced. In their Fortinet, it was they had been updated, but there was a bug when you delete accounts or convert them into LDAP, where in reality there was a shadow account that was still active that we didn't know about. So when we started digging into the logs post-event, we found that there were multiple accounts listed, some of which we believe were compromised, and ultimately we ended up rebuilding the box from scratch in order to guarantee that there were no more phantom accounts.
Yeah, this is one of the things. I don't know if you were on the call with Corey, Gary, but this was one of the things he was alluding to in this, when there was like, oh, there's a SonicWall VPN, there's a new SonicWall 0-day, and this is that was one of the things. So
yeah, we're trying to get rid of it. We're not, we have to move to a newer technology. We're not quite there yet. It's on our roadmap, but at a minimum, our short-term goal is to get everybody off of basic authentication and get everybody with at least 4 tokens to lock down those VPNs as well as we can for now, until we can do something better for them.
Have you come out and said we recommend deprecating them in your communications, Gary? Dollars aside, budget aside, are you telling people
that will be
to a ZTNA solution?
But that will be the message to the clients when our VCIOs go have those conversations in the coming weeks. And I think there's half a dozen customers who are there. We do not have a replacement technology yet identified. But that's the next step, is to figure out which of the technologies, ZTNA based or something of that nature, that we're going to go with.
Got it. Okay. Rich, did you have something? I saw you posted something. Or was that more just internal?
Yeah, I was just sending it over to Ben. A SaaS alert came in for an app being installed. The name of it is kind of weird. It's Stealth EXT Auth PROD, and it came in without any decoration in the enterprise app area. And I called the user. He knew nothing about it. It seems tied to Apple iOS 18.2, and some AI searches didn't have a lot of details about it. They were just folding it under general warnings that it looked like it was spurious, but I could not get any details on it. And looking back 8 months on all of our clients in SaaS Alerts, this is the only time it's ever been installed. And the client is a auto dealership, and there's no products or things they're using that need a special app or anything. So we're still investigating it. We don't know what it is.
Got it. Not a CDK customer, are they?
They are a CDK customer, and possibly there's a connection there, but usually the CDK has been there for a while, so I don't know if they would be installing new apps. And it seems connected to Apple, maybe something on his phone or his MacBook, something may have happened there. I don't know, but it definitely installed it. It was on the 3rd of September. So again, we're still trying to figure out, where it came from and what it was supposed to do.
Was
Okay.
it enterprise app registration?
Yes.
Yeah, you might want to consider maybe enabling the admin consent workflow. So
I did.
users,
Yeah,
you
I
did,
just did
okay.
that. Yeah, I just did that. Right after we deleted it, I put that control in there. So
Can you type
Okay.
the name of the app, please?
it's in the chat, but it's Stealth, EXT AUTH PROD.
Pretty transparent name, I have to say.
Sounds legit to me, Chip.
Well, I mean, it sounds so non-legit that it's almost like it's sarcasm. You know what I mean? It's like somebody
Yeah,
creates an EA that says, "I'm here to hack you now." Like
exactly.
that's, but certainly troubling.
Hackers are us. All right. Any others?
Sounds like Black
Hey-
Hill's doing their work.
Yeah. Hey, Rich, I just have a quick question. When you looked at, I assume you guys looked at the rest of the activity, a few days prior, with this particular user. Did anything else stand out here?
No,
Yeah,
no
and
other. All sign-ins were normal. Going back 30 days. Not a frequent sign-in person. He's only there every couple days a week. So nothing unusual that I could see. No SaaS alerts going back in time for this user or for the client. So it just stood out as a very unusual. I mean, I'm so thankful for having the SaaS alert for these integrations, because some of them we're familiar with, the ones that the lawyers use and other sites, but this one made no sense. Now,
Yeah,
the
that's
customer does have a security company that does their parking lot watch overnight with cameras and stuff. They use Stealth equipment. It's a product named Stealth for their
There
DVRs,
you
but
go.
I don't, they've been there for a while. So, and I got a message into their support team saying, are you guys putting apps on these systems? And this user has no connection to that product. So I don't know what's going on. So they
well, I
never
wonder if they have. You said iOS 16, which implies, either an iPad or a phone. Is it
Right.
plausible that what the user installed is an app that lets him view the camera feeds right from his phone? I mean, like, I'm sure half this call probably has that for Ring or somebody else on their phones.
Yeah, but it's
And
not an EA, right, Chuck?
it shouldn't be.
Mhm.
I don't understand why it would be, but if it, is that that's the first thing I would look, knowing that they have this Stealth, a
Yeah.
company named Stealth, doing their lot monitoring with cameras.
I talked to this one user and he was aware that there was a company doing this, but he wasn't involved in any of the security of, observing of any footage or any of reporting of any security incidents. He was just aware of it. He's not part of the team that takes care of security, as far as I know.
Yeah.
That'd be interesting, like for them to ask that company, right, Chip, like to show me how you monitor at night. What do you do, right? Do you use any mobile device for monitoring our lot?
Yep. I would definitely dig into that. Rich, since you didn't see anything that looked like, your classic token theft, which, the rules have gotten pretty good at picking up, what kind of steps did you take to secure this account just for extra caution's sake?
Well, the one step we haven't done yet, which we have a tech on site, and I asked him to do this yesterday, but he got busy. It was to go through the computer, but it didn't seem like it came from his computer. He has a Windows PC, something to do with his phone, and I don't know if the guy remotes in using a Mac. I talked to him only once, just to ask him if he knew anything about an application and about these cameras things, and he didn't know much. So we basically just I revoked his sessions. I checked, even though there was no obvious signs of a failed sign in or anything weird, I just revoked his sessions anyway. And that's it. That's all I did. I just keep an eye on his account, signing in, and that's it.
Did you review what permissions were granted inside Entra?
You mean the scope, Enrique?
I didn't spend a lot of time digging through that app while it was in there. I just kind of removed it. So I didn't get all the permissions for it. There was no other user assigned to it except for that one guy. That I did check. So it wasn't like it was set up for the whole enterprise or multiple users. There was only one user in there, and that was the one guy account that it landed in. So
Yeah,
if
Rich,
I
I'd love
learn
it.
any more, I'll share it. But we're still trying to figure it out.
Yeah, I was just going to say, Rich, I personally would really love an update on this one on next week's call, because it
Rich,
sounds
when
to
I
me
go-
like you have a half a
Well-
dozen avenues to run down to get some questions answered, and be interesting
when
to
I
see where
look
this
at it
goes.
online and Google it, it's a Bitcoin app, which is kind of interesting.
All right, maybe I can ask this guy if he's been, dabbling in Bitcoin. That might. But why would it put an app on the in the?
I have no idea. I'm just saying this is what comes up as a Google search.
You guys know there was a huge attempted hack last week of cryptocurrencies, specifically using a node package manager and a group of libraries that a lot of engineers use. Are you guys familiar with that?
No, Chip. I
Yeah,
didn't.
we don't have to pull it in. It's kind of out of scope for this call in this group, but there's a lot of activity in the cryptocurrency space right now around people trying to engineer new and better ways to steal your stuff. So if you do hold crypto, don't leave it on an exchange and don't use an app on your mobile phone, and get it out to a hardware wallet.
Well, and Chip, this could, remember we always talk about what's old is new. So for Rich, maybe let's say Andy's right, and it's a mining app. Maybe they're trying to get onto the network to steal CPU, right, to mine Bitcoin. I mean, like you said, there's 5 or 6 different ways to go about this. But I mean, that was some of the initial use cases, right, of Bitcoin mining and just using people's computers to
Yeah.
do that.
You know what, Rich, I guess you've shared all this info with Ben, is that right? Rich?
He's on mute.
Yeah, I know. All right, Ben, let's make sure we follow up with Rich, and I want to get like all of everything he's got over to Kaseya Labs, and let's let them have a look at this, because it sounds kind of novel.
Sorry,
And
I pulled away to go send an email to this guy. Anyway.
yeah, no problem.
All right, so yeah, I'll gather everything I have and just send a mail over to somebody. So, and then if Kaseya wants to help kind of plumb this thing, I don't mind.
Yeah, take a
We
look at it.
we could check and see if we've seen this app pop up elsewhere
Yeah,
as well for anybody else.
Yeah, yeah. I asked Ben if he could do a look back on the system and see if it's been hit anywhere else. So we're just waiting to see if we can do a dig.
okay. Thanks, Rich.
All right, you're welcome.
And when all else fails, Rich, if need be, will send Eric Monroe over with his 44 and just using suppression tactics for parking lot people. All right, Jason, welcome, man. It's good to see you.
Good on.
Well, we've been highly anticipating you joining us. We had a fun, quote unquote, sassy call about 2 months or so ago, Chip, when we brought on the direct send novelty that had been going around, and threat actors using this to compromise accounts. And we were all kind of amazed it wasn't deprecated, as Microsoft went to 365. So yeah, we're excited to have you on and bring us up to speed on what you've done.
Sure. Well, for anyone who doesn't know what direct send is, it's a feature, not a bug, according to Microsoft.
Yeah.
But it basically allows any device or app, if you know the the organization's smart host URL, which is basically their domain, at mail.protection.outlook.com. You have a valid sender email address and a valid recipient email address, and those email addresses must be internal to the Exchange server, so they must be an actual user that exists in an Exchange in that actual mailbox. You can directly send, without any kind of SMTP authentication, an email to the user, and it bypasses a lot of the Exchange online protection. If you're using that, it'll bypass most DMARC and SPF records that you have created, unless you have extremely strict DMARC and reject SPF records created, which most people do not because they can be troublesome. Yeah, so you can get email with viruses or with phishing attacks sent directly to organizations, and attackers will pretty much just use PowerShell scripts to do this, and they'll just randomly hit people and send all these phishing emails. So I can't imagine there's people out there that are using this functionality. Maybe if they have devices set up, scanners, printers, etc., that are using this functionality to send attachments that they're scanning directly to users' inboxes. So you can still keep it enabled if you want, but you're going to have to go and take a few steps, which is going to be a little bit complicated, by enforcing those strict DMARC and SPF records, potentially also implementing some transport roles for your Exchange environment, or transport rules for your Exchange environment to prevent it. But my recommendation, and we have a Fortify action for this now, is to just go in and disable it. And at that point, you'll figure out if anyone's using it, because you'll get mail rejection, obviously. And I would mitigate that just by enabling SMTP authentication or finding an alternative method, versus having this wide open, because it basically bypasses a lot of the online protection that you get in Microsoft, because it's dropping the mailbox or the message directly into the Exchange server, into the user's mailbox. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of where we're at with it. Again, I don't know if anyone has any questions regarding it, but my recommendation is just turn it off, add it to a template, assign the organization to a template that has that action in it, and just forget about it.
Yeah. There's a few hands, Jason. It's been, like I said, a few months since I looked at it, but isn't it something like, once you get access, it's like you have full rights, full, domain rights to send whatever you want, as if you're internal, and
yeah, that's exactly it. You basically have the same rights as an internal Exchange user sending a message to another user inside Exchange.
Yeah.
I saw a question come up about, does a sender address also need to be internal? Well, since you need a valid recipient address, most times they will just use the same sender address as the recipient address. I'm pretty sure, I'm 99% sure that the sender address also needs to be a valid internal mailbox address for this to work.
It's interesting. I'd love for you to hang on. I got to show, when I bring to the fish of the week, it might mean something, Chip. The one that because when I looked at the to field, it's one and the same. So I'm curious if this might be a direct send.
It could be.
Yeah. Let's go to Rich first, and then Andy. Rich, you didn't step away and do another email.
No, sorry. So we were going to turn this on, and then my boss said, hold off, because when we read a little more details, it said that it could interfere with regular, normal calendar deliveries and other things. So we backed away from turning it on.
You mean turning it off, Rich?
Or turn it off. Yeah.
The only thing I could ever see it affecting is any external inbound mail that's sent to that smart host, that Outlook smart host. It shouldn't affect any kind of internal calendar sharing, etc. So unless you really have devices or apps out there that you might think are taking advantage of this to send emails to internal users, I think you should be pretty safe to disable it. You could create a transport.
Yeah.
I was going to say, you could create a transport rule ahead of time that would tell you if there's any traffic that's using this feature.
Okay, all right. That's a good idea. We are implementing transport rules to kind of basically keep things within the the spam filters. So that was a recommendation by Proofpoint to kind of do that. So that's what we're doing right now.
Yeah, that's something we're going to be doing with Fortify too. And the snapshots is allowing to take snapshots of all your favorite transport rules and apply those to organizations.
All right, thanks.
Andy, what you got?
So my question is around detecting this configuration error, if I want to think of it that way from a security standpoint. If we, is there a report in SaaS Alerts that allows me to identify configurations that lend itself to this? And two, can this be linked with Graphis in any way with SaaS Alerts so that we could implement the transport rules with Graphis potentially and have this help block that?
So I'll take the Graphis side of this, and the answer to that is a pretty firm no right now. But I understand why you're asking, and it's a qualified no. I'm trying to get you to read between the lines, Andy.
Yes, I gotcha.
Having said that, Jason runs our entire. Jason is a one-man, 10-person team that runs all of Fortify, and he's already built the control for this, so you can manage this for all your customers in one shot, right
I'm
through the
thinking about
Fortify module.
prospecting customers and saying, by the way, your
Oh, yeah.
your current security settings are way off. I would like to set up a profile that says these are all the things that are incorrectly configured, and here's what the risk is, and to be able to reference articles. Ultimately, that's the piece I'm trying to build together here.
Yeah, I mean, you've already got that capability by connecting anyone up. If you have a prospect, you already know you have, at least 30 days to throw somebody on there without getting a build for them.
Right.
Throw 'em on, look at the Fortify controls, push out their secure score report, and look at what can specifically be changed to jump it up. That's all been built into Fortify since Gen 1.
Yeah, the organization vulnerability assessment report is specifically designed for that.
Awesome.
And soon it'll have the updates so you can compare it to a template or a snapshot. Right now, it's just the actions. So the direct send would still appear in that report.
Awesome. Thank you.
And we check every 24 hours if that control is applied. So if it's not, it'll show up as an action that is applicable to the organization. Otherwise, if it's already in place, it'll show up as pre-existing and completed.
Would this also show potential enterprise apps that are questionable? Is there like there is a known bad web list? Is there a known EA that we could begin to reference?
So not from the reporting. Remember, the reporting is going to show you the Fortify actions that are available or applied, etc.
So I'm looking at inventorying things like applications and saying, hey, these could be potentially problematic.
But Amanda, we've included the enterprise apps on the OAuth report, correct? So that
Correct.
data is there. It's a separate. It's not Fortify, Andy, but that's also been there for a while.
Yeah, I'm with you.
We've
Yeah, the
always
Shadow
tracked the
IT,
OAuth.
the Shadow IT report includes those
Yep.
off events. And we have the new service principal created event as well.
Awesome. Thank you.
Awesome. Jason, thanks, man. You got to come on more often.
Yeah, not a problem. It'll do.
Yeah.
Jason's here every week. We just never, drag him out to be on camera.
Oh, okay.
I'm always here, but I'm just never here.
Okay.
Jason, next time you're on camera, you got to bring the 9-foot tall Maine Coon cat and stand him up next to you.
Oh, I closed the door so he wouldn't be right here.
Where's Huntress?
He's about 24 pounds now.
Holy mackerel.
Where's home for you?
What's that?
Where are you based?
Oh, Easton, Pennsylvania.
Oh, okay. You're in the Chip.
Yeah, Chip just drives over and says hi.
Yeah, we're not far apart.
Very cool. All right, Ben, we got some new advanced stuff. Suppression.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just looking into that event that Rich had. All right, so let me do this.
You got a very cool looking screen there. Did you see something special?
Thank you. I was playing around with it for our webinar and everything. A little bit of OBS. So can you see my SaaS Alerts screen?
Yep.
Cool. So Adam went over that we have advanced suppression, but I think it was this week we added an extra ability to it. So I'm just going to suppress this event and pick a couple of fields here. Let's just go for this ASN, and we hit next. And now we have the ability to toggle on pretty much any of these switches here. So this is a great way to pretty much address like false positives. And we get it all the time where someone will say, hey, why is this respond rule still triggering? I put it in power filters, shouldn't it have suppressed it? And we have to explain that power filters is strictly for outside approved location. Whereas this right here would be a way for you to suppress or false positive flag an event and not have it trigger a respond rule or an IOC. You can also hide it from analysis, but all of these work. The only field that's required is the name here. And we also have the date restriction as well, which I think Adam covered that. But this is what our team, our MSA and KSIM and everything, when we are doing false positives, this will be the system that we'll be using. Any questions?
No, I think Anthony just said you have a big cat. He called this is a big cat, unless he was talking about Jason's.
Probably
Jason's
Jason's
cat
big cat. I
showed
don't
up.
have a very big cat.
Ben, quick question. Ben, a quick question from Sujit. Any plans to include a copy option for suppression rules? Sujit, maybe a little color around that. What are you talking about, buddy?
Yeah, so like a lot of times I take any kind of administrative action,
Mhm.
IT glue, auto task, I add Graphis, the whole shebang. It flags every single event all the time, which is great. I can suppress it for myself,
Mm-hmm.
but it'd be easier if I could just copy a rule and then like add my manager, add the other tech, and just kind of create all the suppressions at once from the key people we would expect to see that activity from, versus I'm kind of waiting for them to flag it, or have to go in there and then manually create it. Just kind of those scenarios.
I know that they're working on a way to create them beforehand, but you can also, if you do applies to, instead of just selecting one account, you can still apply to multiple accounts here, entire organizations or partners. But I believe, I don't know if Adam's here or not, but
I'm here. I'm watching
oh,
you
hi,
on my
Adam.
feature. It's been kind of fun.
I love your feature. I've been begging Adam for this for many weeks, and now I leave him alone.
Yeah.
Till
So
next
short
week.
answer to probably most of the questions around this is standard SaaS Alerts fare where we release and we iterate. So this is a progress over perfection, and there is active development going into it now. There are some items that are coming, I'm going to say quote, air quotes, soon. The ability to edit suppression rules. Initially, we launched it to where you couldn't really edit it. Initially, the goal was to just kind of have some consistency as we were troubleshooting and things and not having to chase our tail on what was changed. There's going to be the ability to add a new rule where you don't have to start from an existing event. There will be an API that allows you to create these rules without needing to touch the UI at all. I see that being very valuable for like PTO type workflows where you know somebody's going to be traveling soon. And then a little bit further out are going to be a couple really important pieces. One being that you won't actually have to have an event to be able to suppress. So right now it's tied to a very specific event. In the future, you're going to be able to say like this user from this ASN in this product, you know, from a known unified device, for instance, and be able to suppress. And then further out in the distance is going to be that the suppression and the power filters module actually merge into one distinct feature rather than two features that are now starting to have quite a bit of overlap.
Well, to that point, then, I mean, obviously, I know this is probably down the road. Because right now we're able to mute a lot of things beautifully in SaaS Alerts. You know, chef's kiss, love the suppression rules, but Rocket Cyber is the noisy cousin that's still yapping about things that, you know, SaaS Alerts has already identified as being a non-issue, but because it's just a one-way sync, you know, Rocket Cyber, sorry, just keeps constantly going on and on about those things. Is that something that's going to be still kind of further down the roadmap, that two-way sync?
I mean, I saw Chip come off video, so I'm happy to let you answer this before I do it if you want.
Go ahead, Adam.
I mean, the goal kind of is to unify code base and have one particular product called KSIM. And, you know, the tighter we can get the two integrated, if not even seeing it as two anymore, I think is the path we're headed.
And Ben, can this be a shameless plug to your and Chip's session, admin session at Write a Boom? Because I think you're gonna do some previews of that at that point, wouldn't you?
Oh yeah, this is what one of the things I was waiting for before I even start putting that course together. I was like, I needed this to be complete, and so now it is. Yeah, that's why it's so funny. It's like I'm trying to wait to the very last minute to write the course because everything's being added, and it's like it's all of it's really valuable.
Yeah, between now and Write a Boom, you know, what's gonna change on the product side is kind of the equivalent of, I don't know, you know, swimming in a duck pond to putting in a Olympic-sized swimming pool and full outdoor bar, cold plunge, and a hot tub. So there's a lot going on behind the scenes.
That's awesome.
Excellent.
Awesome. Well, along with that new updated outdoor kitchen and visual I have, Chip, I think there'll be a lot of cold tequila shots being served there as well. So
That would be a Write a Boom thing for sure. So is that, you know, when you have the when you have the hosts come out and provide the mixer stuff, you're gonna make sure you have cold Jello shots there, Andrew? That's gonna be on your
the
menu.
SaaS Alerts in particular is going to be part learning and part drinking game conducted by you and Ben, right? So
I'm okay with that. So you can make it to the end.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. All right, where are we?
We are, yeah, well, that's a good question. Where are we? Here we go. All right. So some banter, Chip. This is a good one. Let me focus in on this. So I sent this half joking to Chip. I'm like, hey, you want to open this one up, Chip? And what was interesting about it was, and I'll let you kind of share a little bit, Chip, was the legitimacy of all the URLs, right?
Yeah, so I think you sent this to me and Ben, and I guess I got a crack at sandboxing this before he did. But yeah, the URLs look legitimate. If you dig into them and mouse over them, you realize they're going to some place that is not so legitimate, which, you know, I went to a sandbox protected browser and tried to get there, and that was dead altogether, which was a good thing. So I think by the time this got forwarded to you, Andrew, somebody else had already taken it out. I'm not going to steal your thunder about where this wound up when you reached out to them in the end, but you know, Team Pipeline US is a real company. It all looked real legit. You know, obviously I'm looking at all of that before I go and select the links and copy out the stuff and drop them into a browser and see what I'm gonna get blown up by. But
I just
you know,
wondered when you look at this and based on what Jason said,
yep,
could this be a direct send?
yeah, it seems likely, certainly plausible, but people do that all the time. Also, if they're just doing a BCC, right? They'll put the from and to will be to themselves, and then they'll BCC a whole bunch of people. This is obviously an account that had a problem and was used to forward on, you know, living off the land kind of scenario. Somebody's in there, got their stuff going on, and now they're using that account to foster more mischief, both inside and apparently outside the organization. So why don't you pick it up from there, Andrew?
Yeah, so I'm like, well, I've realized this guy Aaron, the CEO, is a real dude. So I'm like, hey, Aaron, I believe this may have been intended for someone else just to see what happens. I shouldn't laugh. He responded literally probably 2 minutes later. Thanks, Andrew. Account got hacked. Don't click any links. So, yeah, what we suspected was what happened, Chip. And so
What is nutty about it, if you go back to the original message, Andrew,
Yeah.
without this, a lot of people would fall for this, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because it looks like, if you're in the business, any kind of engineering business, and it looks like this is an RFP request. It's like, hey, we've got some business we're soliciting from your company. Click on the PDF with the bid process, and away you go. And of course, what is the PDF going to do? It's going to take you to log in to presumably 365. We don't know that for sure because it was a dead link by the time I got to it, but that's likely it. Um, it's well done. Like if you go and even if you're reasonably suspicious and you look at this email address, oh, I'm going to go look at this Team Pipeline US first and see if they're a legit company. They are. It's just I know we say the same thing like every couple of weeks, but it's so important to provide this education to end users.
Yeah.
You didn't fall for it, Andrew. Probably most on this call would not, but there's a lot of people who will.
Yeah, the threat actor did a really good job. My sense is they were in his account, right, Chip? They took his entire list, figured out that they push out RFPs. Great ruse.
Yeah.
Right?
And so targeted. That's the other thing. I mean, you think about how we started off with phishing and then spear phishing and then whale phishing. This is like micro phishing. Like you're going after a market segment. It's kind of interesting. I
Yeah.
think I get hyped up about this kind of stuff. So
Yeah, it was well done in terms of a spear phishing or micro phishing, as you call it. All right, so then moving on, this is what you sent me, Chip. I just got totally enthralled into this, which started out as the person went out onto the Reddit security to talk about this report. By the way, I'll put these URLs in chat for everybody, but it talks about this Anthropic report. And by the way, they did a fantastic job. I'm not going to try. I reached out to all three of the authors, Chip, to see if I can get them on the cyber call. If I do, I'll pull you on as a co-host.
yeah, love it.
Yeah. So the I'll first give the high level, Chip. Tell me if you agree with this, and then we'll kind of walk through the threat report. But at a high level, this threat actor and what the folks from Anthropic, who the makers of Claude, basically said, they chose us. We were able to stop it, but basically these tools now can give a reasonably low level threat actor, a novice type threat actor, not only the skills of higher level or high degree threat actors, but a team, literally the ecosystem of a ransomware operator, an entire ransomware operation gang. So everything from, initial reconnaissance, initial access, lateral movement, exfiltration, negotiation, you name it. These tools can provide that capability to a single human being. That's, to me, what I took away from this at the highest level. What is that fair, Chip?
Yeah, 100%. And it's just remarkable. We talked about this on the cyber call on Monday, almost as a side discussion. Just getting into the economics of the black hat industry and how it has its own business subculture and subspecialties. And, I in the call, we literally predicted that that's going to change. It's going to get even easier and AI is going to drive it. And lo and behold, 2 days later, or a day later, this Anthropic report comes out. And obviously I picked this up when I sent it to you because this is a Reddit thread that I constantly read looking for anything really. I mean, you know how Reddit is. It's both a cesspool and a source of, a lot of interesting stuff if you're willing to dig through it. So, but I would push back a little bit, Andrew, on the notion that a novice could do this, at least at this moment in time, because just using the AI tooling to actually create these agents that take the roles of the individual workers in, in the Black Hat ecosystem takes some skill right now, but um, a novice hacker could do it, but an experienced AI could not do it, but an experienced AI guy could do it very quickly. And once he does it once, that can be now sold as a whole new tool. And that's the piece of this that we didn't get to and do on the cyber call. You and I haven't had a chance to talk about this since, but imagine you have a reasonably good um, engineer, software engineer, network engineer, developer who's taught himself automation using AI tooling, who builds this new ecosystem in a jar, all the roles rolled into one. Well, what's he going to do? It's just like evil Nginx, right? It's just like anything else. They're going to sell it or give it away in exchange for give me all the stuff you get back with the tool. So, this is a big acceleration that's probably right around the corner. Yeah, Anthropic, one word about them. Of all of the frontier AI models out there, I think most people that follow the space closely would agree that they try and have the highest ethical standards of everyone. Um, and they caught this and they shut it down as quickly as they could. But you could do this with any tool. It wouldn't have to be Anthropic. It could be Gemini. It could be OpenAI. It could be, any of the frontier models coming out of Asia. It could be small LLMs instead of large LLMs that are becoming more and more relevant in designing very purpose-specific um, AI automated engines and agents. So this is a big deal, I think. I would really encourage everybody on the call that's got any kind of interest at all. You can skip the Reddit thread and just Andrew posted the full Anthropic report. I'd really encourage you to go read it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'll just give everybody in the last 10 minutes here just some of the high levels. The summation of it is, and I think, yeah, I agree with you, Chip. Just the way phishing as a service, someone could easily kit up what you just said, and start selling that, right, for a monthly fee. But yeah, it's, this is what they're saying. The models, it doesn't matter the model, right? You can use any of them. Lowering barriers. This is the part, like you said, depending on their skill level, Chip, I guess your mileage will vary. But this was the interesting part, is that they're using it throughout their operations now, right? No longer was, about 2 years ago, or when the AI hype started, everything was around, oh, people's phishing is going to get better, right? All the old, right? Remember that, Chip? The first thing was, well, the misspelling and the communication.
Yeah, and it did.
Yeah.
Really fast.
Yeah. But my point of simply saying that is the velocity. We went from, that was the first thing we said threat actors are going to use it here, and they did, to now it being throughout the entire life cycle of an attack. This even here, of using it to create ways of monetization and payment. I thought that was pretty fascinating. The part that, you're starting to hear a lot more, Chip, and I started to read something even on this most recent, vibe hacking and vibe coding. I'm not real in depth in that, do you have a sense of what that is, Chip? Can you educate people if you do know?
Well, yeah, the term vibe hacking is being borrowed from the term vibe coding, and vibe coding really refers to tools like Replit and Lovable that have been created to allow non-software engineers, people who have never had any formal training in writing software, to just describe verbally, which is where you get the vibe, like, hey man, I want you to, it literally, and they can be talk interfaces. Hey, it's like me sitting down with anybody on this call and saying, I'm going to pick on Tina because she's always fun to pick on. Tina, just start telling me what you want. And Tina'd be like, yeah, I want a really cool application that, I can point it at a junky truck out in the field somewhere that I think my husband Doug wants, and do some mock-ups for me and create it and put it into a mobile app. And that's kind of all she has to do, and it builds an app for her. And vibe hacking is a similar notion. You just start describing, even if you don't necessarily have the hands-on tools to do this by yourself in the keyboard, what it is you want to accomplish by attacking Microsoft 365 or Salesforce or G Suite, and scouring, the web for write-ups of articles that have been done by Blackpoint Cyber or Black Hills or whoever. You just gleaning information and asking an AI to package that into a system of thought for you that you can just continue to iterate on, and before you know it, you have a whole process and you've built a tool.
It's really cool that you just, and then so interestingly, there was this, I just wanted to show you this. I'm not sure if you saw it because I figured you'd be well aware of this vibe coding thing, but just today this came out about how be careful what you wish for, because the wrong thing you kind of ask it to do, in this particular case, it nuked somebody's entire database, Chip.
Yep.
So
yeah,
okay.
there's a lot of criticism of vibe coding right now in the software development community.
I won't comment on it.
Because it's good. It's very good at what I just described, right? It can basically build a mobile app that could be very, very specific, that doesn't have a lot of data, that can be deployed very quickly onto some mobile infrastructure, and obviously you're paying for that. But it doesn't provide the kind of scalability that you need to build a real business application. You can't take, an application like SaaS Alerts or, you know, really anything that has millions of hundreds of thousands to millions of lines of code and feed it in and say, okay, fix this up. It won't do that. So, you can build a decent paper airplane, maybe one of those balsa wood things with a wind up rubber band, but you can't build anything that you could put a passenger in and fly.
But I
I
guess
think
you
one
don't
of the biggest,
I'm sorry, go ahead, Jason.
I was gonna say, I think one of the biggest issues is it's allowing people to create these apps, but they have no understanding of the underlying processes that are occurring. So it's blind to them. All they see is what's of the UI, the graphics. They don't understand what's happening in the back end, and that can be dangerous and can also
Oh,
allow for a lot of security flaws.
yep.
And
That
yes,
that said, it's going to get better. Like everything else in AI, it will get to a point where people learn how to vibe code, and do it with security in mind. I mean, you could do it if you have some, rudimentary understanding of what it takes to actually build an app that's safe and secure.
but if you're one of these guys, you don't really care, do you, Chip? Because this is the vibe, is like, help me create automated reconnaissance, credential harvesting, network pen testing. That's what they're using it for.
I mean, I think like everything else, this will evolve into, what we would call an individual contributor in a software team, ratcheting themselves up to having all the tools of a state level actor, what today we call the state level actors that get named by Microsoft and given code names for who they are. You're going to see it get better and better. And of course, they're going to come along and at some point and say, okay, well, now I want to make sure you build into this little toolkit that I've created, real stealth and make it very hard to discover, and do everything possible to wipe any trail of how we got in and how long we stayed and who's behind it. I mean, it's not going to take long before people continue to improve upon this on the dark side either.
Yeah. For Gary's sake, Gary, I just wanted to show you this, and everybody, because we've been talking about this for so many weeks about the on the heels of the SonicWall stuff, but their reconnaissance is definitely looking specifically at this, Gary, specifically at VPN endpoints. That's what they're looking for, and anything obviously that is not updated. So they're highly targeting it. Just another maybe food for thought for your clients to say, look, this is a now being automated. Not only is it a target, but it's being aided with AI as well. to go after it. So so yeah, this is one of the findings as well, that they leveraged this automation and specifically targeted those things. The other area here, Chip, around exfiltration, which is, you know, what we spoke about, exfiltration without encryption, right? That was our conversation this week on the cyber call.
Yep, the change in ransomware. But the other interesting line there, Andrew, how to craft psychologically targeted extortion demands. So, you know, how fast, if you build in a little reinforcement learning into this thing, how fast do you think AI is going to iterate itself on learning how to become an effective psychological influencer to get the human actors to do what they want to do, right? It's social engineering, but at the change in scale of machine learning.
Well, and maybe I'll just close with this, Chip. One of the sessions at Write a Boom, and I don't know if I told you this, this lady Farah, she's really pretty brilliant. She's going to be doing this conversation around securing Copilot, but one of the demonstrations she's going to do is she's going to request a bunch of PII from Copilot, and then it's going to say, whoa, hold on, that's personal information, I can't give it to you. And she changes her vocabulary and tonality in terms of how she's asking Copilot for the information, and it hands it all right over to her. And I think what your point is, hey, we're programming these things and we're showing, you know, ways in which the human is vulnerable, and that's only going to iterate onto itself.
Yeah, and again, the unwitting humans that are on the other side of this are going to be the ones that are providing the reinforcement learning without realizing it. I mean, I'm assuming everybody understands like that general concept of what reinforcement learning is. It's a machine learning or an AI tool getting feedback from a human being, and then using that to iterate its own expertise better. And you're just feeding right into it with, even if you throw out 10,000 of these social engineering scams and you get a hit on one, and your next try you get a hit on two, and your next try you get a hit on eight. Like you get the progression, and you know, an AI agent doing that on its own can do that so much faster than a human being could, that you know, you pretty soon you get to a very effective social engineering campaign.
Yeah. All right. Well, in closing, tomorrow, 2 p.m., Ben Jones, I'll have a new AI-based headshot for him, and be there. It's going to be awesome. Wishing you guys all a fantastic week. Thanks as always, Chip.
Will you post a link for the event tomorrow?
On YouTube?
Yeah. Just go to my LinkedIn,
Okay.
Andy. It's
Got it.
Events on my LinkedIn.
Awesome. Thank you,
Andrew,
guys.
just a program note for you. I will not be here next week. I'll be getting some much needed R&R down your way.
Let's cancel.
Yeah, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm protesting.
No, you can put together. I know you can put together somebody far more interesting than me. So, you know, you gotta get
see
new.
Corey, I'll pull him in.
Yeah, there's a good one.
All right, guys.
All right.
Thanks.
Yeah.
See you, everybody.
Stay
Bye.
safe.